I'd like to call to order the Edinburgh Redevelopment Commission meeting for Monday, August 10th, 2026 at Council Chambers at 5:15. As always, we do a roll call first on the agenda. Karen Fitzpatrick.
Here.
Sarah Beth Drebred.
Here.
Tammy Irvin.
Here.
Deborah Vaughn.
Here.
Kathy Ham.
Here.
Myself, Matt Irvin, and Town Council or Town Attorney Dustin Hulsum. Okay. We have next is approval of meeting minutes from June 22nd, 2026. Karen's here, Sarah, Tammy, and Kathy.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the June meeting.
Second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, first on our discussion was 104 South Holland Street. I think we've got some new information.
Yeah. So I think we had actually talked about this maybe even last year or maybe the beginning of this year of just
Someone was talking about leasing it.
Yeah, some opportunities for 104 South Holland.
And that's the building right
the building right across the
it.
street.
When they were redoing this place, we had council meetings over there.
Yes. Yeah, so the town currently owns that building and it's been utilized over the past few years for different events. You know, we did our 12 days of Christmas, we utilized it. We've done indoor winter farmers market. Currently the last 6 months, or actually maybe a little bit longer, our EMTs have been using it for training. They've been partnering with Johnson Memorial and doing EMT classes over there. We do have some interested tenants in that building and was just trying to get creative. And, you know, the more that we learn about our TIF funds and the more that we learn about what this group is able to do as far as redevelopment for downtown, one of the things we had discussed was if council would entertain the idea of deeding over that building to ERC. And Dustin, correct me if I'm wrong, the way I understand it, going through the TIF handbook, ERC has less strings attached for how they can proceed with leasing a building than the town does. And so I've done a little bit more research on that, but basically if we could lease that building out, ERC, that money could go into a fund where we could use that for facade grants, or we could use that for downtown redevelopment needs as they would come up, that maybe the town would have more red tape or loopholes attached to it. So for example, the town council to lease a building has to go through a bidding process. And I don't know if it's state statute that it has to be the highest bid, but I know ERC does not. And what I was able to find out was that ERC could actually, if it wanted to attract a certain business, the request for proposals could say that proposals will be evaluated not solely on rent, but also how well the proposed business advances the downtown development plan. And so there could be proposed a proposed lease for that. And then we would go through the proposals and we would make a selection in a public meeting. So I don't know if that's something this group would be interested in. One of the things I would like to find out, and we would also set parameters of permitted use, you know, rent, monthly or lease length, security deposit, insurance requirements, maintenance responsibilities, utilities, things like that. But if it was not leased for a certain amount of time, we could have something in the proposal where the council could help pay for those utilities as they do right now, so that we're not taking money out of ERC to be able to do that. But just as a thought for a way to get us some more revenue that we can invest in other ways, and not have to utilize the TIF funds for those. So just bringing that up to the group. I don't know, questions, thoughts?
There's a pretty serious tenant possibly or leasing.
We do have two potential people that have reached out. One of them would be kind of co-using the space. I'm meeting with another one on Wednesday morning in Franklin who's interested. She's got a nonprofit business in Franklin, but is looking for a brick and mortar store. So just trying to get some more information, but that's something too where, you know, we would put it out there to public for, we've got this space available, if you've got proposals and go through it, you know.
What are the
Public.
tax implications for the ERC to own property?
Great question.
Okay.
Great question.
We're gonna have to look into that.
Yeah.
So I think, I
Yeah.
think it's a great idea for us to have some sort of incubator type of property. I would be concerned again with any tax implications.
Mhm.
Like you said, if the building's sitting empty,
Utilities.
utilities and maintenance. I don't know if I were sitting on council, if I would want to give a building away and just be like, well, but we'll pick up the bill if you can't,
That's what I
so.
was gonna ask, will the
Mhm.
town council
Yeah.
even be on board?
I mean,
Something like that.
They're, you know, if they deeded it over and I mean, they're not getting they're losing money on it now by having to pay for the
It's just-
utilities.
it's
So
just
it's just,
sitting there
it's just
empty right
sitting there
now.
empty now for them. So at least they would be getting the utilities, you know, they wouldn't have to be paying utilities, which is not much over there. I've pulled those utilities, but, or Emily's actually pulled the utilities recently so that I could give those to the people that were
Who
interested.
pays the property tax on it currently?
It's not on the
Since
tax.
it's
Yeah, because
municipally owned, it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, which
So
I
that's-
don't think I think if ERC owns it, there's also no,
Yeah,
I don't know that for sure,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah.
would think that, but I would want to
Mhm.
make sure.
Mhm.
But the biggest life in our downtown area is empty buildings, and the town is adding to that. Right over there. That's one of the things, we
So
hear
if we-
Sarah Beth,
If we owned it, we just could at least,
there's something with.
I'd
like I
definitely be
said,
interested.
The town owns part of the problem with having an empty building, and it's a downtown.
Mhm. So the legal fees involved with all of that, right now we're skating by,
Mhm.
but I feel like the more we do and the more we get involved with spending our TIF money, or in this case, trying to generate non-TIF money,
Mhm.
they're probably at some point gonna be like, you guys are gonna have to start putting that bill. Can we pay for legal fees out of TIF money? Okay. So like when we go to set up deeds and leasing agreements and all that, because I feel like that's gonna get brought up at some point by someone on council. Just whoever's reviewing the legal bills, I mean, a lot of them pour through them and some people don't, so. Those would be like the questions I would ask. I'm all about trying to do something like that.
Which I have a quick question. Has the town not been actively trying to get it rented?
So that would be Sarah Beth.
There
Because,
have been.
I mean, if
yeah.
they can't if they've been trying and they can't get it rented, how is our group going to get it rented?
She's saying
Yeah.
there's less red tape.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
less red tape. It's just much less, red tape is just a good way to put it. I have probably shown that building, I'm not kidding, 15 times over the last 5 years to different tenants. It just hasn't been, it's been people looking at office space. Governor's Corner Ice Cream was really interested at one point. There was a bookstore, coffee shop that was interested. There's been some other folks. I mean, shown it to several people. It's just been when it got to the point of like, okay, well, if the town were to have to go through all this and it's just like the timing didn't work out, or it just, or it was people that were they were concerned about foot traffic, things like that. The folks that are looking right now, one of them is local. The other one, like I said, is in Franklin. But now there's also other opportunities that are coming up. And so that I think there's a better shot. The other issue is we didn't have a Main Street program before that. And now that we do, I think that there's a lot more just energy downtown, and people see things happening. And, we have 2 buildings that are have a facelift, going on them right now. So there's just some more energy, and I think people want, and they see that excitement.
When we started the TIF, one of my goals was being on this commission was that we at some point would be able to help new businesses through a grant process. which would be down the road. Obviously, we don't have a lot in the downtown. This would give us the opportunity, like I said, as an incubator. So I'm interested in finding out more about it. I just think there's a lot of questions. So I don't know what we can vote on tonight to pursue that avenue. I mean, do we just bring it up in a council meeting and say, are you interested? Should we give you more details? I mean, what do you suggest, Dustin?
You can do that, you can bring it up at council meeting, you can, authorize me to ask the council. I think the first step is if they would want to need to vote it.
Yeah, I do too, before we,
Right, before
Yeah,
they
before
get
we
big
move forward, I'd
plans,
like
we
to
have to know
see-
that they're an interested party.
and at the same time, we can look at, just some different situations. Well, obviously, you already have utility money. We could verify that what, if we're taxed or not, if there's any real estate taxes. Like you said, I doubt it, but it's possible. I'm interested in knowing what we can do. I think it's a great location. It's not prime, but, I think, my number one goal was to try to help new businesses who struggle their first year and fail their first year because of utilities and deposits and all of these things that we could definitely at some point help people with. This would give us the opportunity. So if it's a right motion to make, I would make one to ask Dustin to inquire with the town council. I think it sounds better coming from him if they would be interested in deeding the 104 South Holland Street property over and confirm the tax implications.
I can answer that for you.
Okay, well then why didn't we do that earlier?
I didn't want to interrupt.
Okay.
So on real estate property, or real property taxes, the assessor would be, that's going to be determined who, if there would be tax or not. So government entities are exempt, except when it looks at if you're going to lease it out on the use. So if the use went to another nonprofit, it probably be tax exempt. To answer your question, it could become
Okay.
taxable, but I would cover you guys because in the lease, I would have with the tenant, I would say if real estate taxes are assessed, you guys have to
Okay.
pay. And I would be on the tenant's
The tenant.
responsibility. So that's how I would cover that.
Okay.
Chances are it will still be exempt, but if that's the case where it's not, we would pass along that burden to the tenant.
So my motion would be then to ask you on behalf of the ERC if they would be interested in deeding 104 South Holland Street, and then we can go from there, whether we decide to actually do it. But that would come with a long list of, like you said, there's probably going to be some sort of, obviously a lease agreement, but then usage and leasing fees. I mean, we'll have to come up with all that. That'll be quite, but if they're not willing to do it, then we might as well,
There's no sense in talking about it.
or we come to the meeting next time.
Right.
You know, but I would say if we start with you.
Happy to do it.
So that's my motion.
Second.
All in favor of having Dustin act on our behalf of possibly leasing and buying
Getting it deeded.
getting a deed to us at 104 South Holland.
Yep.
Everybody by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
To your point about that too, one of the things that's been brought up for the last few years for a startup business downtown is the deposit cost for utilities. I want to say it's $750 for electric and
Yeah, it used to be
750.
600. I remember when we first
Yeah.
started this, and then
Yeah.
it jumped up there
And
up
that's,
again.
it's a huge hurdle for people. And, we're seeing it right now with, a new business that we have. And it's one of those, the first year of business is always hard. You typically lose money, but for a small business, it's even harder, and in a smaller community. So, if there would be grants or things like that, and even for existing businesses, if there are improvements that they need, those are things that this money could help with grant money for business improvements to help them. So,
Keep them downtown
yes.
or get them there.
That was our original, yeah, it was our original goal of why we bought the TIF. Because
No,
we
that's
knew-
just one of my, like,
Well, I remember
personally,
when I was like the first talks about it, we were like, we could try to get more business in,
help people.
help out.
Dustin, is that something that we need to put on the council agenda, or is that something you would just bring up in other business?
For what do you want?
For the 104, to ask them?
Let me check.
Okay, because it would be nice if some members from this board were there to talk about why we're interested. Okay.
All right, is there any discussion on the 117 East Mountain Cross Street?
Don't really have any updates right now. Kind of at a standstill. I think I was saying right before, we've had some landlords express some concern downtown. One of them that's actively putting money in his building, came last week and said, "Should I just sell my building or all these going to start falling down?" So, legit question. I think we're still trying to figure out how to move forward. And like we said last time, there's really nothing for this group to do at this point unless there was
Wasn't there some interest in the town trying to move forward legally?
Yes.
Or make some changes? Or
Yeah.
the tenant or
Yeah.
something?
Mhm.
The owner
Who
make
put the
some
new
changes?
fencing up? Was that the owner or the town?
I'm not sure.
There's new fencing around. It's
Is
not
that-
out on the sidewalk now.
Right.
It's up and it's
Mhm.
a more sturdier fencing is around that area now. I wondered who did that.
I'm sure who did that.
Must not be the town. You would know.
Yeah.
All right, well, there's nothing else to come before the commission. You guys have anything?
The only other
And-
thing I was going to bring up is on August 6th, the state announced the new Stellar Pathways. This is a very extensive state program that brings in Oprah and NDOT and DNR and the Arts Commission and Indiana Community Development on housing. And it's a multi-million-dollar, multi-year grant program. ERCs can apply. I mean, the town can apply. I'll be talking about it at council tonight. ERCs can apply as well.
Can or can't?
Can,
Can.
yes. And so it could be something to look into. I think this group would be instrumental in kind of looking at those capital projects and especially in those TIP districts, because the biggest issue I see with us right now is the matching funds, and that's something I would want to see. Can TIP dollars be used actually for matching for redevelopment in these areas? So it's a lot of infrastructure, it's a lot of housing, preservation, kind of runs the gamut of what it is. North Vernon is currently a stellar designation, and they're getting $2 million right now for their downtown facades. But it's a lot of infrastructure, so looking at our wastewater department is got a lot of needs right now. Our corridors, that's something that Stellar can help with. So the cities of Delphi and Princeton and, like I said, North Vernon received it, Wabash, Rushville, Dearborn County. So there's lots of examples of how Stellar has helped that, but it's something ERC would want to be aware of, and if not apply, would assist with.
So would you want to update us on what can I put in the minutes about this?
I will. I'm gonna ask council tonight for their blessing to get more information and give them information. It's a lot to digest, so I'm gonna give this information to them tonight. I think for us, I'll just at our next meeting bring back,
Okay.
because the letter of intent will be due December 15th, and so I will.
Is
I'll
that
update this.
Is that something that we can fall underneath the already established program that you're doing for the
Yes.
town?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, well, you do all the work and bring it back.
Yeah, okay.
We'll take advantage of it. I'm just kidding.
That's it for me.
Anybody else? Lady?
As you all know, I'm Christy Riley. I'm Vice President of Edinburgh Main Street. I want to say thank you for considering 104 Holland Street and taking on that deed. As we know, downtown is needed and to bring some life here. And if we can have a better opportunity with owning the building and having a partnership with that, with the ERC and helping you. So Edinburgh Main Street wants to absolutely help you in all the ways to get that filled with a tenant. That could be long-term, but I just want to say thanks, because it's difficult to put a tenant into a building that we have no control over in some way, and to attract them to our downtown. So thank you for considering it. Thank you for looking into it more.
Mhm.
And I just want to say Edinburgh Main Street is here to help in all of the ways possible, what that may look like.
Thank you.
Which, how do other communities get new businesses in? And what do they do about the initial utility? I mean, other towns are getting it done without a lot of problems. So are they getting help on utility hookups, or are other towns not charging what we charge? Or,
I think what I'm hearing is there are a lot of other communities. I'm not sure if Franklin Development Corporation offers this, but they are doing breaks on utility hookups. Because we're a new business, when you've got all of your permitting costs and just your startup costs, there's the other communities too have, Franklin Chamber, Columbus Chamber, where they're offering grants for new businesses.
I think about Little
Chrissy-
Barkersville.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's tons of stuff coming into little downtown Barkersville.
I think a lot of it's grant money.
Yeah.
And most of the larger communities employ grant writers
Yes.
specifically
To help
seeking
pay
out,
for those fees.
well,
and-
that and just seeking out everything available for development, which we don't have, right?
I mean, we can work with a consulting firm, but even, we got $10,000 for a business for our downtown last year, and that was with the Franklin Chamber and Franklin College, and, even a $10,000 leg up, it's still a struggle because it's the build out of these things, and that's where the money is. I mean, you talk about equipment, and if it's for a restaurant or bakery or something like that, just the overhead cost for them is just, it's a lot, so. But yeah, no, you're right. And,
I mean, I think they've gotten a couple of really upscale eateries lately.
very nice, yeah.
I think one just opened.
Yep, another one.
Yes,
the
another
second
one,
one,
kind of
yes.
upscale
Mhm.
eatery in
Yeah.
Barkersville.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're.
I joked that I used to go for the flea market, and now I went for a crab cake a few weeks ago. So, yeah. No, but, and then you
So they
see
still
too-
have the same hookup fees and stuff that we have, but they're just getting it paid in different ways.
And they're also growing. I mean, just the Bargersville is not the same Bargersville it was a decade ago. And so they just got
Yeah, they
a
have
totally new
Housing
clientele.
developments and.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Housing development.
We do. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else?
I make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All right. Thank you all for coming out tonight.
Aye.
We all voted aye.